and what the two names mean. And I want to skip a bunch. Go on to chapter 12. I'm going to try to do today. We've got this week to get through Goblet of Fire. So we're going to try and get as far as we can today. Hopefully through chapter 27, Padfoot returns, just simply because I want to talk about what's in that chapter. Some of the stuff about the actual Triwizard Tournament, we're gonna skip a lot of details. But the Triwizard Tournament, they get to school, and notice we hear the Sorting Hat song for the second time. Or we hear the second Sorting Hat song, because it's not the same as the one that we heard in Harry's first year. So, page 176. McGonagall brings out the Sorting Hat, and it says, 1,000 years or more ago, when I was newly sown. So the Sorting Hat is how old? Almost 1,000 years or more. When I was newly sown, there lived 4 wizards of renown whose names are still well known. Bold Gryffindor from Wildmoor, fair Ravenclaw from Glen, sweet Hufflepuff from Valley Broad, shrewd Slytherin from Fen. Okay? So each one of the founders is from a different topographical area. Gryffindor is from the moors, or like the Scottish Highlands. Okay? Ravenclaw is from the steep mountainous glens. The glens probably carved by glacial activity in Scotland, because Hogwarts is in Scotland. Hufflepuff from Valley Broad, the lowlands of Scotland, area, for example, around Edinburgh and such. And then Slytherin from Fen. What is a Fen? We don't use that word in America very much. We have them, we just call them by something else. Like in South Georgia, the Okefenokee Swamp. Okay? It's swampland or marshland. They shared a wish, a hope, a dream. Now it's going to get really hot here. The thing was set at 62. I thought it was a little chilly maybe. They shared a wish, a hope, a dream. They hatched a daring plan to educate young sorcerers. Thus, Hogwarts School began. Now, each of these 4 founders formed their own house, for each did value different virtues in the ones they had to teach. So each of the 4 holds certain virtues to be more important than other virtues. And they select their students on the basis of those particular virtues. Okay? By Gryffindor, the bravest. By Gryffindor, the bravest were prized far beyond the rest. For Ravenclaw, the cleverest, okay, would always be the best. For Hufflepuff, hard workers. You know, she doesn't say industrious best. For some reason. For Hufflepuff, hard workers were most worthy of admission, and power-hungry Slytherin sought those of great ambition. Now, the first Sorting Hat song, we got more virtues for each of the householders. Okay? But now they get subsumed just into these. Gryffindors are brave. Ravenclaws are smart. Hufflepuffs are hard workers. Notice the difference between this kind of what the Sorting Hat calls virtue and these. Hard work is what? It's actual doing. Okay? Bravery, however, exists where? Inside. Smarts exist inside. Ambition exists inside. Hard work has got to be shown. Okay? It's what's called a practical virtue. It's something you do, right? So, while still alive, they did divide their favorites from the throng, and how to pick the worthy ones when they were dead and gone. They picked their favored ones from the throng. Think of this as the throng. There's 4 houses. What do? They quartered them. Okay? They picked them from the throng. So, once students get sorted, what are they no longer? That is, those first years when they arrive on the train, okay, and then they get in their little boats and they make their way across the lake. Hagrid brings them. When they're all there together in their little boats, they're all what? Are they Slytherins and Hufflepuffs and Gryffindors and Ravenclaws? No. They're just witches and wizards. They're all first years. They're all together. They're all united. And then what happens? You're a Ravenclaw. Boom. You're a Gryffindor. Boom. You're a Hufflepuff. Boom. We're no longer united, right? Because what happens immediately when they get sorted? They start looking out for their house. Okay? And this setup of one school, Hogwarts, 4 houses, is not foreign, okay, in England at least. You know, it's essentially the way Oxford University is set up. Oxford University is kind of an umbrella term that applies to an overarching kind of educational body that is comprised of 20 or 22 separate colleges. So when you get accepted to Oxford University, you don't just get accepted to Oxford. You get accepted to Magdalen College at Oxford, or Pembroke College at Oxford, or St. Hilda's College at Oxford, or All Saints, or Brasenose, or any one of these 20 or 22. Same thing with Cambridge University. Okay? There's only a couple of universities like that in the United States. The first one to start that kind of model was University of Santa Cruz in California, which has had, back in the 80s, 5 colleges. Right? So, they needed to figure out how to pick the worthy ones when they were dead and gone. 'Twas Gryffindor who found the way. He whipped me off his head. The founders put some brains in me so I could choose instead. This is Gryffindor's hat, in other words. So, they put some of their brains in. We're not told how. I think because of something we're going to see. Can't remember if it's this book or the next book. Either this book or the next book. I think that gives us an indication of how they're able to put some of their brains in. And the sorting hat says, so put me on, I'll take a look, and I'll sort you. Okay? So that's the second time we hear a sorting hat song. We're going to hear it again in book 5. So we see a bunch of people get sorted. I'm not going to spend any time on that. And Nearly Headless Nick lets slip to Hermione that there are house elves, lots of them, and Hermione goes all crazy about them, starts up spew and all that kind of stuff. Go on to chapter 13, where we get introduced to Mad-Eye Moody. Now, we saw him at the end of the opening feast, when he showed up at the high table, crack of lightning, face shown in relief, description that it looked like something carved by somebody who doesn't know what a human looks like, and by somebody who's not a very good carver. Okay, piece of nose missing, etc. I want to pick up with Malfoy, page 202 and 203. Malfoy taunts Ron with an issue of the Daily Prophet because there's an article in the Daily Prophet and Arnold Weasley, not Arthur Weasley, Arnold Weasley, is quoted and somewhat ridiculed. All right? And Malfoy reads the whole article and then makes a comment about Ron's mother. He says on page 204, and there's a picture, Weasley. A picture of your parents outside their house. You can call it a house. Your mother could do with losing a bit of weight, couldn't she? Ron shaking with fury. Everyone staring at him. Harry, get stuffed, Malfoy. Come on, Ron. Oh yeah, you were staying with them this summer, weren't you, Potter? So tell me, is his mother really that porky, or is it just the picture? Harry, you know your mother, Malfoy? And he and Hermione are holding on to the back of Ron's robes because Ron's just getting ready to, go crazy on him. That expression she's got, like she's got dung under her nose, has she always looked like that, or was it just because you were with her? Malfoy's face turns pink. Don't you dare insult my mother, Potter. Then keep your fat mouth shut then. And Harry turns his back to him to walk away. And we hear, bang! Oh, no, you don't, laddie. Harry's like, what the? He spins around. He sees Moody limping down the marble staircase. And there, where Malfoy was standing, is a pure white ferret. Terrified silence in the hall. Nobody's moving a muscle. Moody looks at Harry, says, did he get you? Harry, no, missed. Leave it. Harry's like, I didn't. Not you, him. And he points at Crabbe, who is about to pick up the ferret. Moody starts to limp towards Crabbe, Goyle, and the ferret, which gives a terrified squeak and tries to scurry off. I don't think so, says Moody, and he waves his wand. And the ferret flies 10 feet into the air. Okay? And then falls and smacks on the floor. Now, if you know anything about ferrets, we have one at home, one of my kids has one. We've had two, but one of them fell from probably the top of its cage. Its cage is about this tall, and broke its back. Okay? It fell, and it fell on bedding. Moody has Malfoy fall from about the height of the ceiling onto a stone floor. Okay? And then it bounces back up in the air. I don't like people who attack when their opponent's back's turned, growled Moody. Stinking, cowardly, scummy thing to do. Never! Whap! Hits it on the ground. Do! Hits it on the ground again. That! On the ground again. Again! Okay? Ferret flies through the air. Professor Moody! McGonagall shows up. Hello, Professor McGonagall. What are you doing? Teaching. Moody's not a student. Yep. No! And she goes berserk. She says, we never use transfiguration as a punishment. Surely Dumbledore told you that. You might have mentioned it, yeah, but I thought a good sharp whack, or shock, would give detentions, Moody. We speak to the offenders out of house. He says, I'll do that. And he looks at Malfoy, who says, my father. Oh, yeah? Well, I know your father of old, boy. You tell him Moody's keeping a close eye on his son. You tell him that from me. Now your head of house will be Snape with it. Yes, another old friend. I've been looking forward to a chat with old Snape. Okay? What do the students, or at least Harry, Ron, and Hermione, know about Moody that maybe other students aren't aware of? He was an Auror. That is, he battled dark wizards. So what's it mean when he says, I know you're father of old, boy. And Snape is another old friend.
Death Eaters?
It's implied. Okay? Ron, don't talk to me. He wants to fix that image of Malfoy as a white, bouncing white ferret, in his mind forever. Okay? So they go off to Defense Against the Dark Arts with Moody. And Moody says, page 211, so straight into it, curses. They come in many strengths and forms. According to the Ministry of Magic, I'm supposed to teach you counter curses and leave it at that. Not supposed to show you what illegal dark curses look like until you're in the 6th year. You're not supposed to be old enough to deal with it till then. Remember what Arthur told them? You're too young, you wouldn't understand. Okay, about the Death Eaters. Moody's just said, the Ministry of Magic says you're too young and you can't handle it. But Dumbledore's got a higher opinion of your nerds. He reckons you can cope. And I say the sooner you know what you're up against, the better. How are you supposed to defend yourself against something you've never seen? A wizard who's about to put an illegal curse on you isn't going to tell you what he's about to do. Okay. And I didn't do this last time, but I'm going to say it here. Scatter caution to the wind. It's like gun-free zones. Okay? Somebody who's going to go into a gun-free zone and kill a bunch of people is not going to advertise that they're going to go into a gun-free zone and kill a bunch of people. It's not like they're walking around with a flashing neon light saying, I'm armed to the teeth and I'm going to kill a whole bunch of people. No. What is all they need? That sign out front that says what? No guns. Okay. Where have you seen a mass murder done with a firearm on some place that allows weapons? Like a shooting range. It doesn't happen. Why not? Because there's a hell of a lot of other people around you who are packing who are going to blow your brains out once you start. Okay? What's the relationship? Why do I bring that up? Not just because I think gun-free zones are idiotic, which I do. I think universities, frankly, if we ever had a shooting at MTSU, I would be the first one in line to be suing the university and the state of Tennessee. For what? Denying Second Amendment rights. Okay? But that's a different point. What's the connection? What's Moody saying? Dark wizards aren't going to do what?
They're not going to advertise.
They're not going to advertise. Okay? He says they're going to surprise you. He's not going to do it nice and polite to your face. You need to be prepared. Okay? How? Well, 2 of the curses he's going to talk to them about, you can stop. The 3rd one, you can't. So you need to be prepared. Prepared how? Well, against the first 2, to try to stop them. What about against the 3rd one?
To run.
To run? To at the very least know what you're up against? Okay. So, he asks, page 212, which curses are most heavily punished by wizarding law? Ron, Imperius or something? He says, you would know that. Gave the ministry a lot of problems back in the day. So he pulls out a spider. Makes that spider tap dance. They all laugh like crazy. Think it's funny, do you? You'd like it, would you, if I did it to you? Moody says, and they stop. Total control, Moody says. I could make it jump out of the window, drown itself, throw itself down one of your throats. He says years back there were a lot of witches and wizards being controlled by the Imperius Curse. Some job for the ministry, trying to sort out who was, who wasn't being controlled. The Imperius Curse can be fought. What does he say it takes to fight it off? Strength of character. Right? So he says, all right, what's another curse? Hermione's hand's up in the air, but he calls on Neville, because Neville puts his hand up. He says, Cruciatus. Pulls another spider out. But now he wants to make the spider big enough so they can really see what's going on. And he says, or the text says, that he makes the spider larger than a tarantula. Now I've seen tarantulas the size of my hand before. So let's say it's that size. So he puts an Engorgio charm on it. Spider swells up nice and big. And he does, crucify. And the spider falls on its back, its legs curl in, and it just twitches. While Neville holds on to the front of his desk and just grips it for dear life. Pain, page 215. You don't need thumbscrews or knives to torture someone if you can perform the Cruciatus Curse. That one was very popular once too. Notice, with the Cruciatus, right, you don't need, what are we told? Thumbscrews or knives. What are thumbscrews and knives going to do to you physically? Torture and leave what? Yeah, they're going to leave marks. Does the Cruciatus Curse necessarily leave a mark? No. Not at all. He says, okay. Any others? Hermione, Avada Kedavra? Yep, last and worst, Killing Curse. Puts his hand into the glass jar, and it's like all the spiders are scuttling away. They know what's coming. He pulls one out, puts it on the desk. He roars Avada Kedavra. And we get this description. There's a flash of blinding green light and a rushing sound. As though a vast, invisible something was soaring through the air. Instantaneously, the spider rolled over onto its back, unmarked but unmistakably dead. Several of the students stifled cries. Ron had thrown himself backwards. What was the sound of a vast invisible something soaring through the air? Was it death coming for the spider? Or was it the spider's life going away? It's something. And Harry just sits there. Moody says, not nice, not pleasant. And there's no counter curse, no blocking it. Only one known person has ever survived it. And Harry's sitting there thinking, so that's how Mom and Dad died. Flash of green light. So Moody says, Avada Kedavra is a curse that needs a powerful bit of magic behind it. All of you lot, he says, couldn't give me a nosebleed if you tried. So he has them take out their quills and parchment, and they start taking notes. Okay. We're going to go on. Harry gets a letter back from Sirius, 226. And Sirius says, I'm flying north. Dumbledore's reading the signs. He got Moody out of retirement. Okay, what signs?
Something bad is going to happen.
Something bad's going to happen. Where did the signs begin? Book 1. Mars is bright tonight. The centaurs say. Okay? And notice, page 227, Harry goes to bed, and he's thinking, if Sirius comes back and gets caught, it's my fault. Showing Harry hasn't learned the lesson Dumbledore attempted to teach him. the end of the previous year. What's Harry doing by saying that or by thinking that? It'll be my fault if Sirius comes back and gets caught. He's essentially saying Sirius has no choice in this matter. He's essentially taking Sirius's choice and putting it under an Imperius Curse. Okay? Which, next chapter. They have defense against the dark arts again. And Moody says, Dumbledore wants you put under an Imperius Curse. He wants you to feel it. Hermione's like, oh, but that's illegal. He says, if you'd rather learn the hard way when someone's putting it on you so they can control you completely, fine by me. You're excused. Off you go. So he's going to teach them what it feels like to be under one of these 3 unforgivable curses. Okay, notice, what does unforgivable mean? Can't be forgiven. Can't be whitewashed away. Doing any one of these to anybody, he said earlier, was grounds for what? Straight ticket. No trial, no jury, boom, you end up in Azkaban. What spell did Peter Pettigrew do 13 years ago when he blew up all the Muggles? It was Avada Kedavra. Okay? That's why Sirius was sent straight off to Azkaban. So, he puts a few people under. Dean Thomas hops around the room, sings the national anthem, page 231. Lavender Brown imitates a squirrel. Neville does gymnastics. And then he calls Harry. And it's only with Harry, because the novel's from Harry's perspective, Harry's point of view, it's only with Harry that we get a look inside the person's mind when they get put under an Imperius spell and what they feel. It was the most wonderful feeling. Harry felt a floating sensation as every thought and worry in his head was wiped gently away, leaving nothing but a vague, untraceable happiness. Excuse me. Why? What does the Imperius Curse do?
Makes you happy where you don't try to fight it.
Okay. What does it take from you? Control. In other words, what it really takes is your sense of self. Right? You're put under an Imperius Curse, you do what someone else commands you to do. Tolkien's definition of magic. Domination of things and wills in this world. Okay? Why does he feel floating sensation and vague, untraceable happiness? Well, if you remove this, what's part and parcel of this? What's tied into our sense of self? All of our desires, all of our wants, all of our needs, all of our frustrations. And if all that gets wiped away, you have, use old word, what's called apatheia. In modern English, it gets rendered apathy. We tend to mean by apathy, however, not giving a damn. Indifference is not what this means. This means passionless, not having any of what are called the passions. Anger, hatred, love. Okay? You're just kind of wiped clean and floating on a sea. He stood there feeling immensely relaxed, only dimly aware of everyone watching him. Notice, dimly aware. It's like his sense of self, being the center of attention, is gone. And he hears Moody's voice. Jump onto the deck. ... Jump, desk. Jump onto the desk. ... Notice, it's not a command. It's merely a suggestion. Look, this is hypnosis. You will stop smoking. You will stop smoking. And Harry bends his knees obediently, preparing to spring, jump onto the desk. And in a little small voice in the back of his head says, "Why?" Silly thing to do, really. Jump onto the desk. And that voice says, "No, I don't think I will, thanks." A little more firm. "No, I really don't want to." Now look at Moody's voice. "Jump! Now!" They become commands. And the next thing Harry felt was considerable pain, because he tries to jump at the same time that he tries not to jump. So he does kind of like a half jump, and his shins hit the desk in front of him. "Look at that, you lot! Potter fought. He fought it, and he damn near beat it." First time a teacher swears, by the way, in the novels. "We'll try that again, Potter, and the rest of you pay attention. Watch his eyes, that's where you see it. Very good, Potter, very good indeed. They'll have trouble controlling you." Takes 4 times, and Harry can repel the Imperius Curse. What did Moody start with when he talked about the 3 unforgivable curses in the previous lesson? When Ron mentioned the Imperius Curse, he said, "Yeah, you'd know about that. Gave Ministry of Magic a lot of fits back in the day." He said the Ministry had a terrible time trying to determine who was under an Imperius Curse and who wasn't. How old is Harry? He's 14. And he can protect himself from this thing? And older, fully grown, fully, I can't remember the word they used. She uses later on, not licensed, but fully something. Authorized witches and wizards can't repel it. So how come Harry can? Notice, what does it take, he says, to do this? Strength of character. So Harry must have a great strength of character. How do you get that? What builds character? Hard work?
Experience. Tough time.
Experience? Tough times? You know, if you join the Marines and you go off to Parrish Island, is it a weekend in the park? No, not at all. If you join the SEALs and you go off to Camp Coronado on the California coast, is joining the SEALs, is being selected to try to join the SEALs, the same as going down to Old Fort and walking in the Army recruiting office and signing your name? No, it is not. Because only the best of the best go off into there. Okay? So what do they put you through? Either in the Marines, or in the SEALs, or in the Rangers, or in Delta Force?
Pain.
Pain. Pain. Is it just physical pain? No, it's mental pain too. Okay? It's emotional pain. But your body is nourished and fed 100%, right? No. And you get 8 hours of sleep a night, right? No. And you get plenty of rest? No. Not when you're off doing a 20-mile hike with a 95-pound pack on your back. Okay? So what's the point I'm making? Why do the Marines have the ads they have? The few, the proud.
Not very many people can do it.
Exactly. Okay. Why is Harry the only one in his class that can do this? Okay. Let's talk about Harry's background, his upbringing.
Oh, that, yeah, okay.
He was raised in boot camp. Okay, he didn't have a drill sergeant. He had Dudley, or Uncle Vernon, or Aunt Marge. Where have we ever seen in Harry's life, or heard in Harry's life, where Harry ever got, for example, something he wanted from the Dursleys? Never. He does go to the zoo on Dudley's birthday, and he does get an ice cream cone. But why? Simply because the person in the line sees Dudley, Pierce Polkus, and Harry and thinks it's automatic. 3. It's the only reason why Harry gets one. Where has Harry ever had clothes that fit him? Never. Okay. When has Harry ever had enough to eat to where he is full? Not until he gets to Hogwarts. So what characterizes Harry's life? Adversity. Hardship. That's why he has strength of character. Adversity builds character. Okay? Harry, as they leave the class, the way he talks, you'd think we're all about to be attacked any second. Ron, yeah, I know. I mean, Dad talks about him. I mean, he's paranoid. Okay. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they may not be out to get you. As we will come to find out, it was entirely rational and reasonable for Moody to be paranoid. Okay? So we hear about the Triwizard Tournament, and I'm going to skip a bunch. Go to the Goblet of Fire, and the Beauxbatons arrive. Madame Maxime, and we find out there are Vila among them. Okay. And then the Durmstrangians arrive. It's their big, like, pirate ship thing. Okay. And we see Victor Crumb, loser, champion of the Quidditch World Cup, is on that team. Page 256. Dumbledore tells everybody to ensure that no underage student yields to temptation, I will be drawing an age line around the Goblet of Fire. Once it has been placed in the entrance hall, nobody under the age of 17 will be able to cross this line. Notice, doesn't mean he's going to stop them from yielding to temptation. They're still going to yield. It's only they won't be able to fulfill being tempted. Okay? So he tells them, any one of you wishing to compete, that this tournament is not to be entered into lightly. Once a champion has been selected by the Goblet of Fire, he or she is obliged to see the tournament through to the end. Placing of your name in the goblet constitutes a binding magical contract. There can be no change of heart once you become a champion. So, be sure you know what you're doing. And we see Fred and George use the aging potion. Let's skip a bunch again. I'm skipping all this stuff about Hermione and Spew. So we get the actual day that the Goblet of Fire spits out its names. And page 269. The flames inside the goblet turn red, and it spits out its first name. Champion for Durmstrang, Victor Crumb. Okay? Another one comes out, champion for Beauxbaton, Fleur Delacour, whose name means flower of the heart. Okay? And notice all the Beauxbatons are disappointed, like Fleur's not the best of the group. Okay? Hogwarts champion comes out, Cedric Diggory. Ron says no. Hufflepuffs are happy. And then Harry's name comes out. So Harry has to go off with the other champions. Okay? And he goes off, and now he has to listen to accusations. How did he do it? Why did he do it? It's against the rules. Hogwarts is only supposed to have one champion. It's not the Quad Wizard Champions or Quad Wizard Tournament. It's the Triwizard Tournament. And there's only one person there who suggests that maybe Harry didn't put his name in the thing. Okay. Snape, notice, is more than willing to say Potter found a way to do it. Karkaroff thinks there's cheating going on. Okay. Madame Maxime thinks there's cheating going on. Barty Crouch knows the rules inside out. He says his name came out. He has to participate. Okay. And Moody says, page 278. If anyone's got reason to complain, it's Potter. Funny thing, I don't hear him saying a word. Top of the next page, he says maybe someone's hoping Potter's going to die for it. And Karkaroff makes a slam at Moody. We all know Professor Moody considers the morning wasted if he hasn't discovered 6 plots to murder him before lunchtime. Moody, imagining things, am I? Seeing things? It was a skilled witcher wizard who put the boy's name in that goblet. Madame Maxime, what evidence is there of that? Because they hoodwinked a very powerful magical object. It would have needed an exceptionally strong confundus charm to bamboozle that goblet into forgetting that only 3 schools compete in the tournament. Moreover, what else are they, not talking about? How old's Harry? 14. How old was the age line? 17. How could Harry have done it? He could have bribed somebody who was older than him. Dumbledore asked him, Harry, did you ask anybody? No. So, Dumbledore says, we don't know how this happened, but we have no choice but to accept it. Both Cedric and Harry have been chosen to compete. This, therefore, they will do. My dear Madame Maxime, because she interrupts, he says, if you have an alternative, I'd be delighted to hear it. Why does he say Harry and Cedric must compete? Because the magical rules and the magical bonding contract state, your name comes out, you have to. Do they say, or you die? No. In fact, what is one of the rules that's been written into this Triwizard Tournament? No one dies. Okay? That is, no one dies as a result of the actual tasks in the tournament. Okay? They make that clear up front. Harry kind of forgets it when he gets to the second task, however. So, Harry goes back up to the Gryffindor common room, where the Gryffindors are all celebrating him. Why? Better Harry than pretty boy Cedric Diggory. Ron, page 286. Congratulations. Harry, what do you mean congratulations? Well, no one else got across the age line. I mean, not even Fred and George. What'd you use, invisibility cloak? Invisibility cloak wouldn't have gotten me over that line. Oh, okay. Well, I thought maybe you might have told me, because it would have covered both of us, wouldn't it? But you found another way, did you? I didn't put my name in the goblet. Someone else must have done it. Why would they have done that? I don't know. To kill me? Ron's eyebrows now raised really high. It's okay, you can tell me the truth. What does Ron mean?
He thinks he cheated.
You're lying to me. Yeah, exactly. When his eyebrows go really high, it's like, really, Harry, you're just gonna keep feeding me lies? If you don't want everyone else to know, fine, but I don't know why you're bothering to lie. You didn't get into trouble for it, did you? I mean, Violet, the friend of the fat ladies, told me, Dumbledore's letting you in her. I didn't put my name in that goblet, says Harry. Yeah, okay. Only this morning you said you'd have done it last night. No one would have seen you. I'm not stupid, You're doing a good job of it. Really good impression of it. Yeah, says Ron. Okay? So for the first time in their relationship, Harry and Ron have a parting of ways. So we get the weighing of wands where we actually meet Rita Skeeter. Okay. Harry writes a letter off to Sirius, tells him about what's happened. I'm going to skip a bit. Pages 298, 299. They're on their way to potions. Malfoy's playing with the little badge that says Potter stinks. And calls Hermione a mudblood. And Harry bursts. Hermione says, Harry, go on then, Potter, says Malfoy, drawing out his own one. Moody's not here to look after you now. Do it. And Harry yells, Furnunculus. Malfoy screams, Denzalgio. Jets of light shoot from both wands. They hit each other in midair in a ricochet. Okay. Harry's hit Goyle in the face. Malfoy's hit Hermione. Goyle's got boils and things erupting all over his face. And Hermione's teeth are growing, okay, at an alarming rate. She's looking like a beaver. Okay. Snape shows up and says one of his most despicable things in the entire series. They ask if Hermione can go off to the hospital wing to get her teeth fixed, and he says, I see nothing wrong. I see no difference in them. Okay? And she runs. Harry goes up for the weighing of wands. He's kind of captured by Rita Skeeter, taken off into a closet. And as Harry just kind of sits there, page 304, 305, the wand starts to write. Or excuse me, the quill starts to write. Rita Skeeter says, testing, my name is Rita Skeeter. And what it writes is, attractive blonde, Rita Skeeter, 43, whose savage quill has punctured many inflated reputations. Okay. But Dumbledore comes and rescues Harry. In page 312. He gets a letter back from Sirius. Says, Harry, I can't say everything I would like to in a letter. It's too risky in case the owl is intercepted. We need to talk face to face. Can you ensure that you're alone by the fire in Gryffindor Tower at 1 o'clock in the morning on the 22nd of November? I know better than anyone that you can look after yourself. While you're around Dumbledore and Moody, I don't think anyone will be able to hurt you. However, someone seems to be having a good try. Entering you in that tournament would have been very risky, especially right under Dumbledore's nose. Be on the watch, Harry. I want to know about anything unusual. Oh, almost everything that happens to Harry is unusual. Okay? So, we get the next chapter, the Hungarian Horntail. And the Daily Prophet comes out, and we read Harry's interview with Rita Skeeter. And it talks about how he's found love at Hogwarts and all that kind of stuff. Okay? We're going to skip all that. Page 322, Harry discovers that Moody's magical blue eye can see through invisibility cloaks. Okay. Hagrid invites Harry down to his hut. And Harry follows Hagrid and Madame Maxime and learns what the first task is up against. Dragons. He hears Charlie's voice. Charlie tells him what kinds. Hungarian Horntail, page 327. Hungarian Horntail, Common Welsh Green, a Swedish Short Snout, and a Chinese Fireball. Okay. And Harry goes back up to his room, or goes back up to the common room, because he's going to meet with Sirius. Bottom of 331, top of 332. Harry tells Sirius about the dragons. He says, don't worry about that. Okay. And he tells Harry that Karkaroff was a Death Eater. He was in Azkaban with me. That is, he knows for sure he was a Death Eater. Okay. And then he got released. How did he get released? Because he named names. So he starts to tell Harry about some of these signs. 333. And reading between the lines of that Skeeter Woman's article last month, Moody was attacked the night before he started Hogwarts. And he explains that. Okay. So Harry's like, okay, so do you think Karkaroff's here on Voldemort's orders? Serious, I don't know. Ron comes down, and Sirius leaves. And Ron says, just wondering where you were. Harry, what's that got to do with you? In other words, why does it matter to you? It's none of your business. Harry, just thought you'd come nosing around? Ron, sorry about that. Should have realized you didn't want to be disturbed. I'll let you get on with practicing for your next interview. So Harry throws one of the badges at Ron, hits him on the head, and he says, there, now, maybe you'll have a scar too. Okay? Which when the book came out, a lot of people speculated. It's an indication of something that's going to happen to Ron. Because by the time this book came out, I think it was by the time actually the third book came out, J.K. Rowling had said in interviews, the very last word of the very last book was going to be scar. Okay? And so by Harry suggesting Ron was going to get a scar, made a lot of people think, oh, she's going to kill off Ron at the very end. So the first task, we'll go to quickly. Harry meets up with Moody, or Moody asks for Harry to stay back for a moment. After Harry tells Cedric, he bursts Cedric's bag, page 340. And as they're picking up Cedric's stuff, Harry says, first task is dragons. What? Cedric asks. Dragons. They've got 4, 1 for each of us. We've got to get past them. You sure? Dead sure. How do you find out? We're not supposed to know. Harry, never mind. I'm not the only one who knows. Fleur and Krum will know too. Why are you telling me? Cedric asks. Which is kind of an interesting question coming from Cedric. Because what does it maybe suggest Cedric would do if the tables were turned? Wouldn't have told him. Why are you telling me? The question means, you want to be champion, don't you? Harry looks at him in disbelief. He was sure Cedric wouldn't have asked that if he'd seen the dragon himself. Well, it's fair. We all know now we're on even footing. Okay? He sees Moody emerge from the classroom. Moody takes him off. And Moody says, page 342, that was a very decent thing you just did, Potter. Sit down. And Moody explains, cheating's perfectly fine. It's, it's kind of one of the unwritten rules. And he explains all the things he has in his dungeon, in his office. And he asks Harry, 343, so found out about the dragons, have you? It's all right. Cheating's a traditional part of the Triwizard Tournament. Harry, I didn't cheat. Moody's like, I'm not accusing you. So, Moody says, got any ideas how you're going to get past the dragons? Harry, no. I'm not going to tell you, but play to your strengths. This is like Gandalf telling Frodo, you must use such heart, strength, and wits as you have. And Frodo thinks, but I have so little of all of those things. Harry, I haven't got any. I haven't got any strengths. Excuse me, you've got strengths if I say you've got them. Think, what are you best at? Quidditch. That's right. You're a damn good flyer from what I've heard. Yeah, but I'm not allowed a broom. I've only got my wand. Second piece of advice, get what you want or get what you need. Well, what's Flitwick been trying to teach them?
Summoning charms.
Summoning charm, Oxio. Who masters it immediately? Hermione. Who doesn't? Harry. Okay. So, Hermione helps him learn the Oxio charm. Page 349. They get down to the actual task. Okay? And they find out they have to get a golden egg from the dragon. Dragons are female, and they're protecting what they think are dragon eggs. Interesting little thing I discovered, when was this? 2 times ago when I was in London. Yeah, 2011. And I don't know that J.K. Rowling knew this, but I think she did. Because this was available in the 90s when she was working on this novel. In London, there is a tourist site called the Cabinet War Rooms. It is the underground complex that Winston Churchill essentially directed World War II from underneath Whitehall, government offices. Okay. In the 90s, beginning in the late 80s, I believe, they had just the Cabinet War Rooms part of this complex open. And this was, a series of tunnels in rooms that Churchill and his staff essentially lived in during much of the Second World War because it was heavily fortified. I mean, you go in there, they've got, like Churchill's bedroom glassed off, but the room is left exactly as it was, say, on May 9th, 1945. Okay? They've got radio piped in from actual broadcasts and such. In about 2009 or 2010, they expanded the Cabinet War Rooms to include the Churchill Museum. And they expanded it by like 3 times the space. And this space is huge. Overall, it's like the space of 2 football fields, all underground. Okay? And in the Churchill War Museum, they have on display these golden eggs. Okay? That when British intelligence would intercept German secret messages, code, using the Enigma machine that they developed to crack the German code, the message, the cracked, decoded message, would be put in one of these eggs and delivered to Churchill, so that it was his eyes only, other than the person who actually did the decoding. Okay? Well, what does Harry have to do? He's got to get the egg. Now let's skip all the rest of the first task for a moment. He gets the egg, and then what does he learn? The egg has the clue to the second task. He opens the egg, and what does he hear? Screeching. Okay? Cedric teaches him what to do. Open the egg underwater, and it'll all make sense. Okay? But I think she might have gotten the idea for the egg and the secret hidden inside from that aspect of the British war effort. Okay, back to the second task. We see Ludo Bagman again. Notice he's giving Harry hints and such. Okay. And page 354. We have Crumb go, we have Cedric go, we have Fleur go, and now it's Harry's turn. He gets on his broom after he summons it. In 354, he looked down at the clutch of eggs, spotted the gold one, gleaming against its cement-colored fellows. Harry thinking diversionary tactics, and he dives. The Horntail's head follows him. He knew what it was going to do, pull out of the dive just in time, and we hear Ludo Bagman yell into the loudspeaker system. Great Scott, he can fly. Are you watching this, Mr. Crumb? Why does he say that?
Probably the best Quidditch player.
Yeah. Okay. And he's saying, this kid can fly as well as you can. Okay. So, Harry gets the Horntail's egg. And Ron comes up, apologizes. Harry accepts the apology, kind of not very magnanimously. That is, he's not immediately ready to forgive Ron. But Ron talks about how well Harry did and such. And the next chapter, the House Elf Liberation Front, I'm going to skip most of. We do see Dobby. We find out Dobby's now at Hogwarts. And Dobby takes him down to the kitchen so they can talk to Winky. And Winky won't give away information that they're trying to get. We get the unexpected task, which is the Yule Ball. Harry's got to invite somebody to a dance, and he waits too long. Typical 14-year-old boy kind of stuff. Go to the Yule Ball. Page 404, skipping a lot, because like I said, I want to get through a bunch. Ron asks Hermione, who are you going to the ball with? And she says, I'm not telling you. You'll just make fun of me. Malfoy overhears this. You're joking, Weasley. You're not telling me someone's asked that to the ball. Not the long-molared mudblood. Harry and Ron whip around. And Hermione says, oh, hello, Professor Moody. Malfoy, flinches and goes pale. Twitchy little ferret, aren't you, Malfoy? She says. And then Ron notices her teeth. They're different. Well, of course they are. Do you expect me to keep those fangs Malfoy gave me? He says, no, but they're different how they were before then. She says, well, she had Madame Pomfrey fix them all the way. Could she have fixed them? Yes. She says, I've been trying to persuade her mom and dad to let her shrink them for ages, but her parents wanted her to carry on with her braces. It's the first time we've heard that Hermione said braces. Okay. Let's see. Harry gets a letter from Sirius. Tells him good job. Let's see here. Skip a bunch again. Harry gives Dobby some socks. They have the ball. Now let's pick up where. See if I can find it. Hermione comes down. I can't find the page. I used to have it marked. There it is, page 414. Fleur Delacour's with Roger Davies. Cedric's with Cho. Harry's with Parvati Patil. And he sees Hermione. But she didn't look like Hermione at all. She had done something with her hair. It was no longer bushy, but sleek and shiny, twisted up into an elegant knot at the back of her head. She's wearing robes made of a floaty periwinkle blue material. In other words, How does Harry see Hermione for the first time in his life?
Attractive.
She's attractive. What else?
She's like a woman or a girl.
She's a girl! It's like the first time he realizes she's a girl. She's not just one of us. Okay? Harry couldn't realize how he hadn't spotted it before. Not only the thing about the front teeth. Parvati was gazing at Hermione in unflattering disbelief. She wasn't the only one either. Everyone is looking at Hermione. This is like, Cinderella coming down the stairs. And by the way, Emma Watson is not well cast. Because she's too cute. At the beginning, her hair isn't bushy enough. Okay? It's bushy all the time. Even in the subsequent novels. And after this scene, it should kind of be, like I don't want to say a big old fro, but maybe a big old fro would be good for her. Okay? Pansy Parkinson gapes at her. Ron, however, rocks right past her without even recognizing her. It's only when Ron does recognize her that he does what? Goes ballistic. He says that Hermione is doing what with the enemy? Fraternizing. And she's like, he's not an enemy. The whole purpose of the Triwizard Tournament is to do what?
Bring them together.
To bring them together, to foster magical cooperation. What is the Triwizard Tournament? The Wizarding World equivalent of? The Olympics. Okay? So, Harry and Ron how are they treating Parvati and Padma?
Not too well.
Not too well. Okay? They're treating them like dirt. How do Parvati and Padma appear? Are they ugly? No. They're gorgeous. And Harry and Ron are completely clueless. Why? Why on Harry's part?
Chow.
Yeah. Because he has eyes for Cho.
Or Cho.
Okay? Ron?
Right.
Because he's pissed at Hermione. Okay? What does Hermione say when they have that one big row?
Before anyone else asked.
Yeah, you should have asked me first. Okay? And Ron's like, well, that's not it at all. It turns out that is it. But what's the real importance of the Yule Ball? Is it that? Or is it what Harry and Ron hear when they go off? Okay? And they overhear Hagrid with Madame Maxime. And they learn that Hagrid's half giant. Okay? And Harry's like, page 430. What's the matter if his mother was a giantess? Ron, well, no one who knows him will care, because, they'll know he's not dangerous. But Harry, they're just vicious giants. It's like Hagrid said, it's in their natures. They're like trolls. They just like killing. Everyone knows that. Okay? So then Cedric comes up to Harry, tells him about the egg. Take a bath. Take the egg with you. Mold things over in the hot water. And he says, in fact, use the prefect's bathroom on the 4th floor. Okay? So we get Rita Skeeter's scoop. Page 437 through 440. Rita Skeeter blows the lid on Hagrid being a half giant. Not just any half giant either. His mother apparently was fairly well known and fairly ruthless. Okay? What effect does it have on Hagrid? What does he decide to do as a result of her article? let's see here. Grubbly Plank takes over Hagrid's job for a while. They go off to Hogsmeade. Let's see here. Bagman, again, is trying to help Harry. I'm skipping a bunch. And page 451. They see Rita Skeeter, 450, 451. And Harry goes up to her and says, trying to ruin someone else's life? And she says, Harry, how lovely. Come sit down and talk. Harry, I wouldn't come near you with a 10-foot pole. Why'd you do that to Hagrid? She says, our readers have a right to the truth. Harry, who cares if he's half giant? There's nothing wrong with him. And everybody shuts up. Everybody in the pub is now listening to this. You ever been in a situation like this? I've seen situations like this in British pubs. It can get really interesting really, really fast. In the United States, you'd end up with a bunch of dead people. But so she says, why don't you talk to me? Tell me about the Hagrid you know. Hermione, you horrible woman. You don't care, do you? Anything for a story. Anyone will do, won't they? Even Ludo Bagman. And she jumps on Hermione and says, shut up. I know more about Ludo Bagman. Stuff that'll make your hair straighten out. Okay? So, they leave. They go back to Hogwarts. And they go straight to Hagrid's hut. Hermione bangs on his door. Dumbledore opens the door and lets them in. And Hagrid says, I didn't think you'd want to know me anymore. Of course we want to know you. Page 453. Harry says, Hagrid, how could you think we care what that, you can get the impression he's going to say something he shouldn't say, that woman wrote about you. Dumbledore, living proof of what I've been telling you, Hagrid. I've shown you the letters from the countless parents who remember you from their own days here, telling me in no uncertain terms that if I sacked you, they would have something to say about it. Hagrid, not all of them. That is, not all the letters are positive. Really, Hagrid, if you're holding out for universal popularity, I'm afraid you'll be in this cabin for a very long time. So, Dumbledore says, not a week goes by that I don't get an owl complaining of what I do. Okay? Hagrid, yeah, but you're not half giant. Harry, look at the Dursleys, Hagrid. Dumbledore, good point. Okay? Dumbledore leaves, tells Hagrid he wants him back at work on Monday. And Hagrid pulls out a picture of his father and him, page 455. And he says, that was taken just after I got into Hogwarts. Dad was dead chuffed, thought I might not be a wizard, see? Because my mom, well, anyway. Of course, I never was great shakes at magic, really. But at least he never saw me expelled. Died in my second year. Okay? So, how many orphans do we have? We have Harry. We have Hagrid. We're going to meet others. We have Neville. Okay? Dumbledore was the one who stuck up for me after Dad went. Got me the gamekeeper job. Trust people, he does. Gives them second chances. That's what sets him apart from other heads, see? He'll accept anyone at Hogwarts, so long as they've got the talent. Knows people can turn out okay, even if their families weren't, well, all that respectable. Go back to what Hagrid told Harry and the Weasleys in book 2. The Malfoys aren't worth it. They're bad to the blood. Okay? And he thinks, in book 2, that if someone's bad to the blood, they're always going to be bad. And yet here he says, you can turn out okay even if your families weren't all that respectable. But some don't understand it. There's some who'd always hold it against you. Okay? You know what, Harry? Hagrid says, 456, when I first met you, you reminded me a bit of me. Mom and Dad gone, you was feeling like you wouldn't fit in. And now look at you, school champion. I want you to win, Harry. So, we get the egg in the eye. Harry takes the egg, goes under the water, hears the mermen speak. talks to Moaning Myrtle a bit. Gets caught by Moody and Snape. Snape doesn't see him because he has on the invisibility cloak. Moody asks if he can borrow the map from Harry. And we get the second task, which I'm going to largely skip through. Dobby helps him. Notice in the second task, Harry is the first one to get to his hostages, and yet he's the last one to return. Why?
Characteristics.
Louder.
Characteristic.
Characteristic. Okay? Meaning what?
It's kind of.
Why doesn't he get Ron and go back up?
He was waiting to make sure everybody else got safe.
He's waiting for Crumb to show up. He's waiting for Fleur to show up, who never does show up. Okay? So he's the last one to come back, and he brings back 2 hostages. Well, why? Because he doesn't take the rhyme, because he takes the rhyme literally. The rhyme says, you have an hour. If you don't show up, you'll lose the thing you love the most forever. Okay. The beginning of the Triwizard Tournament, they said, nobody dies. Okay. So, Harry gets awarded almost top marks, but not quite. Why? Because he shows moral character or moral fiber. We'll stop there. We'll pick up with Padfoot Returns on Thursday.